Once we departed Yellowstone, we took a short 2.5-hour drive down the John D. Rockefeller Jr. Memorial Highway from Yellowstone directly into Teton National Park, Grand Teton National Park. Our first stop in Grand Teton National Park is Coulter Bay Campground.
We're at Coulter Bay for just 2 nights, but we do have to lay out the big tent since she got rained down last night. So we've got her drying out, and we've got the little tent, mini, set up, and that's where we'll be sleeping for the next 2 nights. Bed and tent, that's all it is. Bed and tent, but she's very, very comfy. Here we are after we've been all set up. Still trying to dry out the big tent.
Yeah, which would have worked, except it kept raining on us.
Once we had camp all set up, we decided to hop on the bikes and go explore the neighborhood. It's fun to tool around the neighborhood and look at everyone's setup. As part of our exploration, we found the general store, the laundromat, where we also took our showers, a couple of restaurants, as well as the visitor center.
So we came to learn that Jackson Lake had been reduced in its level to allow some of the spring thaw water to go downstream. As a result, Coulter Bay was completely dry and had been all season.
All that's supposed to be water, right? Really, we should be walking next to the bay. For obvious reasons, there is no trail to the water's edge because we're technically where the water's edge would have been. So we had to very gingerly pick our way through the little boulders.
Mishka first, then me, we picked our way through these boulders down to the new water's edge, and we were rewarded with a fantastic view of the Tetons and what remained of Coulter Bay.
building though. Oh, that is a beautiful view. The next morning, after coffee of course, we decided to go on a hike that was recommended to us by one of the rangers. It was a hike up to Grandview. Pretty high expectations with a name like Grandview, right? Grandview Point certainly lived up to its name, but if you prefer your view without the 1.5 mile uphill hike, you need to go to Jackson Lake Lodge. Here you can get the view and you can get a cocktail.
Jackson Lake Lodge was one of the places we had visited 32 years ago. As we walked up the stairs and got the view, it all came rushing back.
Right outside the lodge, there's a trail, Lunch Tree Hill Loop Trail. And it's a very easy loop, and you learn about the history of the Grand Tetons. And we learned what an important role John D. Rockefeller Jr. played in establishing Grand Tetons as a national park and protecting it for the generations to come.
We wound up visiting Jackson Lake Lodge a couple times on this trip. We had breakfast there. We wound up having a late afternoon snack there, actually more like a lunch there. And it was just nice to go there and relax and enjoy the atmosphere. So we had a great time.
Back in 2015, John and I went to Alaska. And one of the things that we did was to fly over a glacier. We actually landed on a glacier. When we looked down, we saw these blue ponds in the glaciers. And what we were told is those are kettles. What we learned is after the glaciers have gone away, those kettle turns into what they call potholes. And it was interesting to see a pothole, which is what this is. It's what a kettle was, and it's dried up and gone away.
We're heading for dinner here in Coulter Bay, and you can tell Johnny is hungry.
We started a tradition that on the last night in a campground, we would try to take it easy, either make an easy dinner or go out to eat. It was very convenient that the Ranch House restaurant was right there next to the visitor center. After dinner, and what's better than a show, so we went to a ranger talk with Ranger Kevin, who told us a lot of interesting information about how the Tetons were created. And we wrapped up the evening with this amazing sunset.
Our plan is to spend 9 nights at the Tetons, but we could only get a campsite at Jenny Lake for 7, and we had the other 2 nights at Coulter Bay. So after our 2 nights in Coulter Bay, we moved to Jenny Lake and got settled in with Lexi, our big tent, and we were blown away by the campsite.
We can? Awesome. This is our site. Oh, wow. We get our own bear box. That's nice. What, you like this view? You weirdo.
Not only did our campsite give us an amazing view of Mount Tiwanaut, we also had amazing night skies. And we had access to the most popular stop in all of the Tetons, the Jenny Lake Visitor Center. After our hikes, we would treat ourselves to huckleberry soda, ices, whatever we felt like each day.
Not exactly roughing it.
Get ready for the big topo map shot.
I do really love a good topo map.
Everybody loves a good topo map.
Thanks to the visitor center, we knew the route to go and what berries we could eat, so we headed on trail.
The trail was called Moose Pond, so of course our expectation is we're going to see a moose in a pond, right? Miles hiked. Still no moose. Still no pond.
No. Is that a moose? I don't know.
Yep.
Is it? Do we have moose? We actually got to see moose at Moose Pond? That is exciting. Oh yeah, I just saw him move. Yeah. Thought he was a tree stump. Yeah. In addition to the hiking trails, we also hit the biking trails. The Jane Lake area has a famous bike path. We weren't quite sure how to find it. We tried to follow these guys who look like they know what they're doing, but they lost us pretty quickly. But we did eventually find the bike path, and we were able to bike all the way down to Moose, Wyoming, which was about a 7-mile bike ride. feeling? Okay. I'm good too.
One of the reasons we were excited about Jenny Lake Campground was the opportunity to kayak on Jenny Lake, which we got to do. Happened to be on the same day that we did the bike ride. So after we finished the bike ride and of course grabbed our treat, we grabbed the kayaks and got out on Jenny Lake for the afternoon.
Amazing paddle on Jenny Lake, but our day was far from over. We actually got an opportunity to go to another ranger talk, and this one was on a topic near and dear to our hearts, which is dark sky. The ranger talk was amazing, and Ranger Lance had asked John to bring down the telescope, and John kindly set it up and actually let everybody that attended look through the telescope and look at Saturn, which he had manually calibrated.
For ourselves, we had some great nights of stargazing, including seeing the Milky Way and the Andromeda Galaxy. One of our most exciting hikes was to Hidden Falls and Inspiration Point, which we had an option to go around the lake, but we chose to take the boat across Jenny Lake.
The hike to Hidden Falls was relatively easy. It was only about half a mile from the boat dock, and there was nothing too challenging. So really, I think anybody could probably do that hike. Inspiration Point, well, that was another story. I was calling this the craggly bits. It was a little bit worrisome.
everything I've seen, the friends I've made, and then you tell me how you've been. Look a little closer, it's been quite some time. You gotta let me know if I'm out of line. But there's some words that I just wanna hear you say, to put it all straight before this night turns into day, and then I'm on my way. Yes, I'm on my way.
We continued our hike past Inspiration Point and towards Cascade Canyon. This is what we call the Pika Pile because it's where we finally got to see a Pika, and I was very, very excited.
Your words echoing in every single bone. Underwater, so far out at sea, there's no cure for what you're telling me, and soon I'm on my way.
For some reason, and counter to our expectations, going down was easier than going up. We had a great hike and took the boat back and really just had a great time.
Within the park boundaries is Dornans. This is a family that didn't sell out to John D. Rockefeller Jr. when they were buying lands to make the park. So they have this hub right in the park, right within Moose. They got bike rentals, fishing stuff, oddly an art gallery, and a couple of restaurants.
I'm on my way. Yes, I'm on my way.
Jackson, Wyoming, another one of the many places that we had visited 32 years ago. We were anxious to come back and see what we could see. And man, is it different.
Before exploring Jackson, though, we need to get some breakfast. So breakfast at the Bunnery.
Yes, I'm on my way. Oh, heavy road, go easy on me now, and my love will shine.
I remember being struck by the magnitude of the elk antler arches for the park last time we were here. They are still pretty much the same. Very impressive.
Jackson is home to the National Elk Refuge, established in 1912 to help protect the elk and ensure that they survive the winter.
It was pretty cool. We found this picture from the same year that we visited Jackson last. It's changed a lot. We were really impressed with Craig Thomas Visitor Center near the Moose entrance.
I love these pointers to each of the mountain peaks so you know exactly what you're looking at. Not far from the Craig Thomas Visitor Center is the Historic District. Here they've tried to preserve what life was like in the valley before it became a national park. Maintain this? Like, is there a ranger assigned to making sure like these don't look at it? It's so cool.
So please slow down. I'm just trying to find my way back to you. I'm taking the long road, running on empty. I'll be better this time around. I'm going where you go if you let me. I promise you better days. I'm taking the long road, running on empty. I'll be better this time around.
On our last full day in the Tetons, we had scheduled a float trip down the Snake River, and this was an amazing adventure. These guys are great at what they do. They take you, 15 miles up the river, and then we float down it. Amazing scenery, and we got some great wildlife shots.
We were sad to be wrapping up our last day The Grand Tetons were amazing, and we will definitely be back.